we send our hootiest of who's, a hooty hooty you, Dr. Heather Morgan. Now, with the title that I saw, is it true that you have to use both sides of the business card?
No, that is not true. And hooty hoo, good morning to you, John. Thank you for having me.
Uh, Clinical Assistant Professor, Marketing and Professional Sales. That's a lot.
Correct.
Wow.
That is a lot. Yes, it's a huge department.
And when we were given the chance to catch up with you on a topic that we've seen in the World Cup in and of itself. Oh, first and foremost, how is the Yorkie? Is the Yorkie back in from the garage?
The Yorkie is inside, so Ziggy is resting comfortably right now beside me on a bar stool. I can't guarantee he won't speak because he likes to be the star of the show.
Understood. Like I said, the rowdy man is the same way, and he's right here with us. I just had to ask. That's one of the things that in the pre-flight we caught up, and Dr. Morgan had put a Yorkie in the garage, and the Yorkie, she was concerned about noise, and so we brought the Yorkie back inside, so we're okay. One of the really cool things that kind of catches our eye in any big ticket item situation is how folks can navigate things that they're not really attached to. And what I mean by that is, in big ticket items, whether it's a Super Bowl or a Stanley Cup or a college football playoff, you have those title sponsors that are attached to things, and they
Yes.
get to sit there and have their branding, and their branding is a part of this item, and they get to be seen by everyone everywhere. FIFA and the World Cup are no different. Yeah, are no different. Plural noun. And what we've seen is some interesting ways to kind of get around the rules of engagement. In cities, you're not supposed to name them by their corporate name. So here in Atlanta, where we're based, it's not the German manufacturer, but we did find a way to get around that, and we'll get into that now that I'm thinking about it. It's Boston Stadium in Foxborough, not having to do with shaving cream. Toronto, it's not having to do with a bank. It's Toronto Stadium. One stadium in particular in Santa Clara, which is technically San Francisco Bay Area Stadium, they found a really unique way to kind of dance around something that they're not a part of. What did you think about what Levi's did to cover their logos in Santa Clara, but cover them in a unique way to get coverage in turn?
Yeah, so I think that they really showed that they're practicing a branding masterclass, right? So they knew that they had to cover their logos because FIFA does have this very strict clean stadium policy. So what they decided to do is just sort of drape over the word mark. But as we know, that bat wing shape is so popular, it's been used for decades now. So Levi's enjoys having really strong brand equity. So even when the signage was covered up, fans still knew that it was Levi's Stadium. And in fact, the fact that it was covered up brought so much additional attention to it because everyone's kind of asking why. Why is this logo covered up? So we have really what's called the Streisand effect, which is a pretty cool thing, which means that if we decide to cover up or conceal some information, sometimes it garners additional attention. So Levi's became part of the story without paying those sponsorship dollars.
And you end up with that kind of a that extra pub. Is there any way to sit there and kind of monetize or just come up with a rounded figure of how much extra exposure you're getting by not doing something in a World Cup situation? Is there any way to monetize that or come up with a figure?
There's really no way to predict it. You can certainly, after the fact and during, measure things like, because of digital media, we can measure things like likes and shares and conversations, mentions, to sort of get some brand sentiment. Levi's, I think, really did something smart by leaning into it. And if you take a look at their socials, they've changed their profile picture to show that covered up symbol. So it really shows the power of brand equity.
Who else has taken this? And I don't want to. Is it safe to say it's a tongue-in-cheek approach, or is it thumbing your nose? How would you best describe what these brands are doing in these situations?
Brands are navigating this and trying their best, but we never really know what's going to take off. We can try our best, but we're looking for something that's organic and that feels very natural to the consumer or the fan. It needs to feel authentic for brands to get involved, and brands really want to be part of that experience. But because of all the strict regulations that FIFA has, we have to be very careful as to how we do that.
Have you come across any other instances, just casually, other big ticket item competitions or anything like that, where folks have done this kind of thing to garner more attention, or is this kind of the first time we've seen like this on a world stage? Is this the debut of this kind of marketing from the back door?
I wouldn't say it's the debut, but this is certainly the biggest stage, right? Because this is a global event and it's drawing in fans from everywhere. So brands are trying to be part of this reach that otherwise they wouldn't be able to take advantage of with traditional advertising.
And we've seen in other stadia in Foxborough, which they're calling Boston Stadium, that has to do with a lot of shaving cream and shaving materials. There's tape on
Yes.
names on seats. I've heard that they've tried to cover it in shaving cream just to kind of sit there and have marketing. I mean, I think, is it kind of where you see, well, one person's doing it and you sit there and the light comes on. It's like, oh, we should do that too. And you get this knock on effect of one's doing it, then the other's doing it, and the others are learning from each other. It's almost like a shared experience kind of a thing.
Certainly, and you can bet that all the stadium sponsors are putting their marketing team to work to try to figure out the most clever way to get involved without violating any guidelines. FIFA is very strict with their guidelines, so we have to be very careful that we don't violate any of those.
Why, yes, they are strict in their guidelines. Dr. Heather Morgan from Kennesaw State, clinical assistant professor of marketing and professional sales, hanging out with us to break down what we're seeing and let us know about marketing and This would this in the old days be called guerrilla marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's just kind of taken a new approach since everything is digital now. We know that fans are really co-creators, right? And your brand has the ability to blow up in just a matter of seconds if the right person posts about it, and it gets the shares, takes off, has a viral moment, similar to what we're seeing with ranch dressing, right? I think that is a very interesting aspect of the World Cup. So, if your viewers are not familiar, ranch dressing is sort of really having a moment here in the US, that whole product category. And the reason being, we have a lot of fans visiting from everywhere. And in Europe, ranch dressing is not as widely available. It can only be purchased from American importers.
Huh.
So fans are trying ranch dressing for the very first time. So um, we know that ranch dressing, of course, we know it's delicious and we use it on everything. I can speak for myself. I love to dip it in everything. Um, and so do our European counterparts, it appears. So a lot of European fans have really taken to social media to talk about ranch dressing and how, I've seen photos of them drinking ranch dressing.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, that's kind of taking it too far for me too. But some brands have been able to latch on to that. So brands, for instance, like Kraft and Hidden Valley, which are big in the ranch category, did not pay any FIFA sponsorship dollars. However, their brands are being highlighted right now. The TSA has put out a statement about, making sure that you pack your ranch in your bag, right? And what's ranch compliant. I think that Kraft has done a great job because they've really leaned into that moment, and they came up with some AI generated images which show TSA compliant ranch packets, but they said that those are coming soon. So that's been really interesting to me. So Kraft has really been elevated based on this viral situation with ranch dressing.
Ranch compliant and ranch compliant. Well, I mean, if you see, now this is the dangerous part about ranch is that depending on the length of your flight, I think that if it's in your luggage in the cargo hold, I think you're okay because of the temperature difference. When you're, in the cargo hold, it's going to be freezing, so you should be okay in that regard, as long as your container or I just have this vision of folks getting into Gatwick, and then all of a sudden the agents for British Air, sit there and they're opening up things up. What is this? And you sit, and then they poke a hole in it and they completely destroy your ranch dressing packet that you have, the large plastic bag and everything. But if you do it carry on, you do have to, I would imagine, sit there with the TSA and have it just be a very small container. You got to pack this stuff, I would think.
Right. So I think that what Kraft's doing is really genius. And Hidden Valley's right there as well. They're really shooting for the long term. They've named what they're calling ranch ambassadors, and they've sent these influencers, if you will, to Europe with their products to really try to get everyone on this ranch train that we're on here in the U.S. So,
well, and then you mentioned the idea of fans as these co-creators, where they're integrating, and it's a genuine interest in the product or whatever it is they're embracing in that moment. And so you have these new fans of ranch dressing that are diving in and going, hey, look, we're enjoying ranch. It's not something that is contrived or orchestrated for the sake of putting something out there socially.
Yes, exactly. And that's what makes the marketing so great, because it's organic, it's authentic. It doesn't feel intrusive, right? Nobody likes to be sold to. So if we were just pushing advertisements, we know that, consumers aren't going to remember that. But what they're going to remember is the experience. So they were here, they tried ranch dressing for the first time, they remember that experience. And certainly they're highlighting it in real time, and brands are able to really lean into that and take advantage. Who would have known that the ranch dressing product category would blow up? I certainly would have predicted this. So
all that, and then you got what? You probably could go ranch adjacent with what? Wings, French fries. Where else do you put your ranch dressing?
I like it on pizza.
Okay. Yeah,
I like it on everything. I don't discriminate. I don't drink it though, but
no. Our resident ranchaholic, Dr. Heather Morgan, hanging out with us here.
I like that. Resident ranchaholic.
You're a ranchaholic. When we talk about what a World Cup can mean to a city, as an example, you're talking about economic influence. You're talking about sponsors diving in and doing spot buys and trying to get their brand / idea exposed in these markets. It's almost like it's a trickle down effect, or it's a two tier. It's not a trickle down, but it seems to be there's a two tier effect, because you have the 16 markets that are hosting matches, and then you have all of those other towns that are adjacent that are hosting teams, like Chattanooga, Tennessee, hosting the Spanish national team, the impact that it has on Chattanooga, Tennessee, all of the high schools in New York, New Jersey that are hosting clubs and things like that. So there's this economic impact that carries through on a stadium scale, and then on an offshoot scale. What's it been like to see these numbers and these kinds of influences with almost these two tiers of markets coming in?
It's great. It's definitely great for the locations. Certainly, Atlanta spent a lot of money getting ready for this and showcasing the city. Um, the real value comes not just from the month that everyone is here visiting, but sort of what happens afterwards, right? We're really trying to sell the world on this great city that we're part of. So we know that Atlanta is a very diverse city with a rich history. We have great entertainment. We have great food, lots of ranch dressing here to be found. We have, and wings, right? We know that the wings are great here.
Yes.
So we have great food, great entertainment, great sports, certainly lots of rich history here. So the goal is to get people so excited about our city that not only do they visit now, but that they come back. And perhaps they choose to do business here, because we do know that it's very easy to do business in Georgia. So the goal is to really get people to keep coming back, to bring their friends, or maybe if they weren't able to attend the World Cup and just happen to view it, that they're seeing how great our city is and how exciting it is, and really bring that tourism back.
Have you come across any numbers of initial investment by the 16 markets, whether it's Atlanta or Los Angeles or whatever. Have you come across any numbers of initial investment when it comes to infrastructure, marketing, expenditures leading into the World Cup, or is that still kind of something that folks are trying to figure out?
I think that's something that they're still trying to figure out. We certainly can anticipate that those numbers will be very large. So, and I think that the payoff will be there. So,
Well, and
you know,
then, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we can definitely see even fans that aren't able to attain a ticket to the World Cup. They're attending the fan fests and things of that nature. So we certainly see the excitement in the city. And even people who are not soccer fans are excited right now, right? Because this is such a huge event and it's bringing so much excitement to the city and really elevating us on the next level. So
How much of a soccer person are you? Are you just kind of are you soccer adjacent or what?
I would call myself, yes, very soccer adjacent. I do not, I know some players, but I don't know a lot about soccer, but I'm still really excited. The whole vibe here is amazing, right? I know just being around the Kennesaw area and being on campus, everyone is excited. So, Kennesaw State, we're excited. The surrounding areas of Atlanta, we're really excited. So, I'm excited as well and can certainly appreciate the game and the platform that it has. So
As consumers, what do we need to keep an eye on when it comes to marketing for cities and tournaments and big ticket items? What else are you keeping an eye on for this tournament and residual effects, or things that just kind of pop up? Is there any kind of breaking elements? What else are you keeping your eye on when it comes to marketing here for the tournament?
yeah, so I'm looking for those brands that are leaning into this and taking advantage of the time that they have. I think Levi's has shown us that the real lesson isn't that you have to have your name everywhere. It's that you are able to lean in and become part of the experience. So, like Kraft is doing, like Hidden Valley, who knows what the next viral thing is going to be, but I'm here for it. I'm really excited about it. I think that Atlanta is still, the city itself is still going to have several great moments to come. So I'm excited to see where that leads us and just be part of it.
Who is missing out on an opportunity off the top of your head? What have been with Levi's and with Ranch? You're sitting there going, okay, I get that. Who is missing out on an opportunity? Let me have you put your marketing hat on. We're going to go into the conference room with the tall glass and the hermetically sealed room with the table that's equally glass. All the tall chairs and the monitors all over every place. The door shuts. You're there at the end of the table, and you have folks around this table. If you're at the head of the table, who is missing out on this opportunity that you're pointing your finger at in your marketing 501 class and going, jump on this now before you lose out?
Mm. Well, I'm not going to name any particular brands, but I will say this. Brands that are simply just putting advertisements out there are not going to win because brands need to become part of the experience. Look, when people leave Atlanta, they're not going to remember what advertisements they saw, right? They're going to remember how they felt in the moment and the brands that were there for them in the moment. You might think that branding isn't part of soccer and you're just there to watch the game. And I get that. And that's how you should feel as a soccer fan. But the smart brands, the good brands, are going to be the ones who are there in terms of still having a presence of some sort in the stadium. The merchandise, they're there to support you along the way. And those brands are interwoven into the fans' memories. So that while you don't necessarily see and pay close attention to the branding, but it's going to be in the back of your mind. And because it's in the back of your mind, next time you need a car, you might think about a certain brand because you know that it was part of the experience that you were with, right? And that's a brand that you will now trust. So branding is going to be very important, but I would say the ones that are not doing a good job are the ones who are just simply putting ads out there. Like I said before, people don't want to be sold to. We don't want to be spoken to. We want to not feel like you're intrusive. So the brands that are able to really interweave themselves into those memories, those are the clear winners.
Well, and to that point, the city of Atlanta got away with one, and I don't mean that in a negative kind of toss-off way. It was an inescapable thing involving Atlanta Stadium. Traditionally,
Yes.
you've got to put up all this bunting and branding and everything, but there was one part of the stadium that you couldn't fix. And if I'm in this meeting, I'm sitting there going, "Look, guys, this is you want to drop the $500 million to fix the spindle and the Venus flytrap up top, the open and close. You want to fix that?
Uh,
You want to drop the $500 million? You go right ahead. This is unchangeable for us." And there are just some roadblocks that FIFA or any big ticket item has to sit there and understand. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it, but that was a close call for the city, and it was apparently a very big discussion point with them.
Absolutely. Very big discussion point. But I think it came down to logistics, and maybe there were even going to be some structural issues
Mhm.
there. So we know that Atlanta really took their time preparing the stadium and doing everything possible. But in the end, FIFA did agree that this was the only solution. So we did manage to have that one brand mark still there. But
Yeah, and I'm also noticing that one brand mark, you're not seeing any kind of overhead shots of the stadium in particular. You're not seeing the beauty shots that we naturally see on television of, and here in Atlanta, and in the low corner, you would see the stadium and everything. You're not seeing the top of Atlanta Stadium in any kind of a beauty shot. You're seeing everything ground level here so far in the World Cup. There's none of this. That's always right here.
that's right. That's the power of FIFA, right? So they really work hard to have those exclusive partnerships and sponsorships, and they want to make sure that they stay true to their partners. And that's one way to do it, making sure that you strictly enforce those guidelines. So I think that they're doing a great job. And while we might like to see some aerial shots of our great city, we're not going to.
No, you might see aerials of the city, but you won't see Atlanta Stadium in the low corner.
Correct.
Are you on summer break right now, or are you teaching?
I'm actually teaching 4 classes online, but not in person. So.
Oh, wow. So,
Yes.
do you need a note to get back into your own class from us?
No, I think I'll be okay. I don't think my students probably missed me. So
I cannot thank you enough for the
thank you.
education and illuminating us on all these topics and everything that we kind of see. And we wanted to get kind of an expert opinion on all this kind of stuff. Dr. Heather Morgan, clinical assistant professor, marketing and professional sales up at Kennesaw State. Continue with the adding of the furniture there in the new casa, and obviously the guard dog Ziggy, the extraordinary Ziggy has right there. There we go.
He was almost quiet the whole time, but he heard his
Well,
name from you, I think.
yeah. Absolutely true. Can't thank you enough for doing this, for the education, and for anyone that wants to take your classes up at Kennesaw State. I can look you up, email, LinkedIn, all those kinds of things. Thanks for dropping by this morning on the morning show.
Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
There we go, Dr. Heather Morgan, and she's going to go get breakfast.